Yeah, that's the thing. Like, actually, that you mentioned that. That's really funny because the one of the things that they never really talked a lot about when I was taking my management information systems courses, like they really talked about how you can, we talk about making forms as an idea, right? So it's like you might be called on to make a form, so we're going to teach you all the computer form stuff about how to make forms in your computers and for database things like in Access or in VB and all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
But they did touch at one point only. They said, keep in mind that sometimes a computer form is not the solution to your problem. Sometimes a paper form is the solution to your problem.
Sometimes no form is the solution to your problem.
True,
Okay.
but when you need to gather information,
When
right?
you're a data scientist, everything looks like data that you need to gather.
And that was the other thing they said too, is they said when you are making choices for what you should be gathering, you need to be thinking about what data do I actually need to gather. And that means you also need to think ahead slightly about what data might we need in the like StatsCan probably has this problem where they're like, what data might we need in the future to make decisions about?
Yeah.
But we can't ask for so much because then it's too much.
One of the big issues with data gathering is that companies just because they worry about that, throw this ridiculous wide net.
Yeah.
They don't do anything with the data, or they do and you don't want them to do it.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times, like what real purpose does this data gathering have gender as a question on here? Like what actual benefit is it to me as the customer that I'm giving you that personal information?
Exactly.
And so like that's what you have to do as someone who's involved in making these kind of forms, and it's like, what is the actual benefit to the person doing this that I gather this information, and if it isn't, just don't gather that information, because that's the kind of the standard way of doing it, just ask for everything.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Give them more things to fill out.
And then you have real difficulty dealing with that data, but also you have data that you probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same thing about when you talk about like behavior versus like, is this a technology problem? Is it a problem that we should be solving by technology, or is it a problem we should be solving by trying to change people's behavior, right? And it's like, because we could probably change this, where somebody's having a problem, it's like, well, if we can just get everyone to agree that we need to change the behavior, then that's better than trying to come up with a technology to do it. But sometimes you can't change the behavior, right? It's like we were saying earlier, it's like, well, we'll just tell everybody to be quiet in the kitchen. And it's like, well, we'll do our best and we hope that works, because if we can get them to change the behavior, it's great. But sometimes you have problems where you can't deal with that. So you're like, I have to come up with a technological solution, which is hanging blankies.
Sometimes the problem is PEPCAC.
Yeah.
On the topic of data gathering, I just want to put one thing out there. Excel is not a database.
What? Yeah. But it has lines and charts and searchables.
Microsoft
knows math way better than I do.
Yeah, and you can put code in it.
But Microsoft makes a database program that costs way more than Excel.
So just use Excel. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
save money.
They did stop bundling Microsoft Access into Microsoft Office. Yeah. It's like you'd had to
You've
pay
never
for
been
it extra.
able to get access for Mac.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
just like,
It's not
data.
accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Access also sucks.
It does.
It's so
like,
bad.
Just find someone who knows how to make a MySQL database or something and use that.
We had so many people like where I would do like tech support, would talk about how they had FileMaker databases, which I think is like that's a Mac only thing. Was it FileMaker?
Yeah, FileMaker. And
Yeah.
then Apple actually, I was going to say I think Apple bought them, but I think it's the other way around. I think FileMaker was an internal project that got spun off on its own company.
Right.
I don't think they're around anymore.
No, but wait, maybe they might be. I do know that there was like people running like a FileMaker stuff that was like over a decade old.
Oh, for sure.
And then-
that kind of stuff happens all the time.
And coming to us and being like, hey, so we need to upgrade our systems. It's like, that's cool. You have this FileMaker database. How are you going to run it? Like, we don't know. I'm like, well, then you need to start putting some of your money aside to get someone to port that to something else. Because we're not going to do it, right? We're just support. We don't just, fix your stuff for you. It's too bad, but that's how it is.
But
Search
then
is
you
great at databases.
But then you get to ask questions like, why is my 16 gigabyte Excel file taking so long to load?
286.
Like I don't know what SPSS actually does, but I do know that it's like important for statistical stuff, but it's also like so many people like depend upon it, and there's so much data that's goes into it, and there's so much data crunching that goes on with it, and I'm just like, how is it? It must be better at handling huge amounts of data than things like Excel. It has to be. That has to be why it's so good. I don't know.